strong, let the spotlight glow. Then J.O.B. with the weekend plans, events in the county for the whole fam. Concerts, festivals, places to go. Circle that calendar so you don't miss the show. Stay in the know, Hardin County.
Welcome back, everyone. And welcome to you, Dennis. Glad to see you. I think you're muted at the moment. On the software, just like you hit the M button on your keyboard, like you can just hit the M like mom. Yep. There you go. Now I hear you.
All right.
Good to see you. Good to see you today.
Oh, good seeing you.
Yes, welcome back, Hardin Local. We are on our 10th interview in our election marathon, which means we're in the home stretch. And I'm also going to take a break after this one. We'll have about a 40-minute break before we gather back together around, I think, 6:30. But I'll let you all know at the end. I have that all written down in my notes. So Phil Tall here. Joining me now is Dennis Davis, running in the Republican primary for Hardin County PVA. Same format as everybody today, except for a little hiccup with some of the PVA questions. For some reason, my system changed some questions up like it wasn't supposed to do, but it has a mind of its own sometime, and I do apologize for that. But every candidate is going to get the same order of questions, the same time limits, and no gotcha journalism here. I'm not having follow-up questions or anything like that. We also at Hardin Local have the same sponsors in this series, which we're proud to announce that the Plumbing Doctor and Omni Design Group have stuck with us through all 26 of these interviews. More on both of them in a few minutes. Dennis, thanks for being here. Let's dig in. So you're going to run for Hardin. You're running for Hardin County PVA. Can you tell us why you decided to run for this office specifically?
Yes, but real quick, thanks, Phil, for putting this on, and thank you to the sponsors for helping promote this. It's a good opportunity for us to get to speak to the public. Now, to answer your question, I am running for Property Valuation Administrator because it's been my career for the past 28 years. I have spent about half my life in that office. We have a strong team in place, and I believe I'm well qualified and well trained. The staff also is qualified and trained, and together I think we can continue doing the job in a very exceptional manner.
All right. Was there anything that happened in your life that led you to run for political office?
Well, as I mentioned, I've been there 28 years. I was hired in 1998 by Ms. Bennett, and Mr. Hutcherson graciously kept me on. When he approached me and said he may not be running again, I decided to consider stepping forward. As I said, we have a great group of people. Most of us have been there 16 years, and we've become pretty much a family. I believe we do a very good job for the county, and I want to maintain that continuity of service and that level of service that we provide to the property owners of the county.
So you've kind of already explained it, but you got 60 seconds to talk more on your background that prepares you for this seat.
Well, I've got 28 years experience in the local PVA office. I've completed all the required classes in the IAAO courses to receive the certification as a Kentucky Certified Assessor and a Senior Kentucky Assessor. I have performed and assisted with nearly every role in the office, and basically I know the process inside and out.
All right. If voters only remember one thing about why they should vote for you, what is that one thing?
Well, the one thing I hope they have noticed and have learned over the years, I have come to understand the concerns of the property owners through direct interaction. I have done a lot of field work. I've been out there in the public. I know both the process and the people. If there's one thing that they take from my answer today is that I will listen, explain clearly, answer any question they may give me, and use common sense in every decision.
All right, quick break. Today's election coverage is brought to you in part by the Plumbing Doctor, a family-owned Hardin County plumbing company run by Glenn and Tracy Downs right here in Elizabethtown. Over 20 years serving E-Town, Radcliffe, Fort Knox, and Hodgenville. Fully licensed and insured, 24/7 emergency service, and a 10% labor discount for military, first responders, and seniors. Look, showing up to vote on May 19th in the primary is one way to take care of your community, but another way is when you have plumbing issues, to call your friendly, locally owned neighborhood plumber. So when your pipes go, call local, call 765-PLUM. That's PLUM, that's 765 Plum, the plumbing doctor. Experienced, reliable, and affordable. All right, Dennis. Let's say you do win this race. The first 90 days in is pretty important. So what's the first concrete thing you do in office?
Well, there isn't one specific change I would make or concrete thing. Having worked under two administrators over 28 years, I believe the office is already functioning well. There may be small improvements, but overall, the system in place is working, and that can be played out, and you'll see notice over the next 2 weeks by the relatively low number of appeals. We do have several conferences. My focus would be maintaining and refining what already works. But as far as making major changes, I know the community can be upset a little bit over the price increases on their property, but when they come speak with us, they're understanding. We educate the public, and we pretty much resolve any concerns they have before it ever goes to the appeal process.
All right. The next two questions I'm going to combine because they're pretty short and simple. First one to do with funding. The next one is just where people can find you. So is your campaign self-funded, donor-funded, or a mix? And then after you answer that, where should voters go to learn more about your campaign?
My campaign is primarily self-funded, but a small number of contributions from others. This campaign is mine. It's mine to account for. I'm not aggressively seeking donations from people or groups of people. I have learned during my lifetime that a sense of being indebted to any particular person or groups of people is not a strong decision, or it's not a strong position for decision making. So technically it's a mix, but mostly self-funded.
All right. And where can voters go to learn more about your campaign?
Voters can go, the best way is talk to me directly, or I do also have a Facebook page, it's Dennis Davis for PVA. But if you know me, you see me out and about, you can approach me, ask me anything. Unless I'm in the middle of coaching a baseball game, I will give you some time and I'll be glad to talk.
All right. We'll just put that in our comments so people, they'd be able to search for it on Facebook. Before we get into the PVA specific questions, a big thank you to our second sponsor today, Omni Design Group. Omni is a second generation builder based right here in Elizabethtown. Josh Branningham and Corey Jewell, born and raised in Hardin County with deep family and business roots in the county. They handle new construction and remodeling across residential and light commercial. Any size home, any size reno. No project is too big, no renovation is too small, and no idea is too out of the ordinary. They are the team that actually built the first storage container commercial structure in Hardin County over at Heartland Mini Golf. So if you got to build a remodel or an outside the box project rattling around in your head, call or text Corey at Omni Design Group. That's 270-769-8339. That's 270-769-8339. Corey at Omni Design Group. Locally owned, locally built, custom thinking. All right, let's get down to these race-specific questions. We'll start on the first one, which is methodology and consistency. And if you notice any issues with my questions, make sure you correct them for me. Okay. This will be my third time to go through these. So the first one is Kentucky law requires the PVA to assess every property at 100% fair cash value. And home values across Hardin County have risen sharply over the last several years. When a homeowner opens their notice and sees a big jump, how do you explain the methodology used? And how do you make sure valuations are consistent block to block and neighborhood to neighborhood?
Okay, Kentucky uses an ad valorem tax system. It's been in place since the early 1790s, 1792. I think it might have been the original Constitution. If not, it was in 1974. But it is assessed at 100% fair market value. That's what a willing buyer would pay a willing seller. To ensure consistency, we work within mapped areas. If you've ever been to the office and seen the wall, there's a map that shows every county. We work within those maps. And when they created those maps, the people back in 1950, maybe a little earlier than that when they started, had the vision to separate those maps into subdivision and then into neighborhoods. So we can work those maps and kind of concentrate the review within a market on those maps. So we can maintain consistency and fairness just by looking at the comps within the maps that we're working on. We also conduct field inspections every 4 years as required by state law, which helps us out identify any outliers and also ensure accuracy. Being physically present, observing the properties, and speaking with owners is the key to maintaining. Because if you're out there in the field, if you're talking to people, if you're seeing what's going on, if you're seeing the sales, you're looking for influences beyond outside the market, that's where the knowledge, that's where the information comes from to make accurate assessments.
All right, appeal process. Walk us through what a Hardin County homeowner should actually do if they think their assessment is wrong, and what would you personally change about that experience, if anything, to make it easier or more transparent?
Well, the first thing they should do is look at their assessment and probably ask themselves, is my property worth this? Not even considering the amount of taxes to be paid on that assessment, because we don't tax. Our job is to assess the property at fair market value. Now, to do that, they can look around the neighborhood and look for what they call comparable sales. If anybody's not familiar with that term, it's just what the neighbor's house sold for. If it's similar to yours, you could kind of assume that yours would probably sell in the same range that your neighborhood, property owners sell for. If that's difficult or you're not comfortable trying to decide a value on property, you can consult a real estate professional. Or if you wanted to, you could pay an appraiser to come out and give you a very, very detailed explanation of value. If you don't want to do that, the inspection period is open. That's a really good time to talk to us, is the first 2 weeks of May. We will hash out any information, make any changes or adjustments we needed. But at any time during the year, if you have a question on your property value, you're free to come to the office and discuss that. Our staff will walk you through the process and answer any questions of how we got to that value. If there's some information on your property record that is not up to date or erroneous, that can be corrected and you can get a new valuation based off that. We strive to be very transparent with the property records. They're accessible in the office, and staff are always available to review them with property owners. Now, while some online tools may require a subscription, in-person access is always available at no cost. Well,
All right.
relatively no cost. Let me phrase it this way. While some online tools may require a subscription or fee, in-person assistance within reason concerning an individual's personal property, as requested, is free of charge. And there's a long reason why I just made that disclaimer. And if you look into the legalities of the way the office works, you'll know why I had to go back and say that.
All right. Well, it's just random that we're asking these questions, and it's almost the first 2 weeks in May. Hopefully, I don't make you guys too busy over the next couple of weeks. Next question. Next question's about technology and online tools. The Hardin County PVA currently uses QPublic for online property lookups. What's your vision for how technology in the PVA office should evolve over the next 4 years? And what should a Hardin County resident be able to do online that they can't do today, if any?
Well, let me answer like this. Technology will continue to evolve, but it won't replace the need for human judgment. Tools like GIS and online databases are helpful, but they cannot fully assess property conditions the way in-person inspections can. While systems like QPublic provide useful information, expanding them comes at a significant cost to the office. You're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars in money to expand those products. Now, that's down the road. Now, PVA office has to work within a budget. Our money comes from the revenue cabinet, and matter of fact, is being cut, I believe, a little bit this year. So we have to live within our means. But at this time, trained staff in the field provides better accuracy and value for taxpayers than over-reliance on expensive technology.
Okay. The next question kind of lines up with that. Inspection staffing in the 4-year cycle. Hardin County has well over 50,000 parcels, and state law requires every one of them to be physically inspected at least once every 4 years. How do you make sure that happens on time, and how do you keep staff and appraisers trained, equipped, and retained? I mean, that's like 12,000 properties you have to do a year or something like that.
Yeah, I know that the appraisers part, you said to correct you. We don't have appraisers in the office. We have assessors, and the staff does reviews. We have hired a couple people with appraisal license in the past, but they've been part-time. But to answer the question, we follow the 4-year inspection cycle. and it's been completed for decades. I can't think of a single year that we didn't get the reviews done. I mean, we have an experienced staff. Most employees there have been there 15 or 20 years. Everybody is trained in proper data collection. They know how to go out in the field and what to look for and who to talk to. And those reviews are ongoing. Okay, we do the properties in the county, and then we do new improvements. So we're picking up new improvements as they are completed, and then we review the existing property. Retention in the office has always been strong to a positive work environment and an experienced team. When you know what you're doing, you get along, nobody leaves. That's about the answer I have there. I mean,
All right. Next question is about, which will be the last question. Actually, I may throw you one of the questions that Casey got. Since the questions got messed up, I may give you an extra one if you want it. But we'll do this question, and then we'll see if you want to answer one of the ones that got mistakenly given to Casey that didn't get given to you or Michelle. The PVA doesn't set tax rates. The physical court, cities, and school boards do, but the PVA is often the first person a homeowner calls when their tax bill arrives. How do you plan to communicate with Hardin County residents so they understand what the PVA actually controls and where their tax dollars really come from?
Well, when residents have questions, the best approach is to explain to them how we determine property assessment, and explain to them as the taxing jurisdictions that actually set the tax rates. We encourage the residents to call or visit the office so we can walk them through that process. And if they have any questions, we can clearly explain it to them.
I'm going to look because you haven't used much of your time. Plus, I messed up with these questions on Casey's. He got a couple ones you didn't get. The exemptions question, are you okay with that one? It just talks about some of these exemptions. Basically, Kentucky's PVA office has tools that the public maybe doesn't always know about: a homestead exemption for residents 65 and older, disability exemptions, agricultural use exemptions, and the conference appeal process. What would you do to make sure every Hardin County resident who qualifies for one of these actually knows about it and uses it?
Well, I don't use the Hardin County PVA website, but it is there, and I believe all that information as far as a tab to an exemption is there. I typically work out of the in-house system, so I don't use the QPublic or the website we have developed for information to get out to the public. As far as the agricultural exemption, the forms are there. If you're a farmer, you haven't applied for it, you can file that, print that out, bring it in. The homestead exemption, that form is on there the year you turn 65. Now, you do qualify the year you turn 65. You don't have to wait until you're 65 to come in and sign up for that. So you can take advantage of that. If you're born in December 31st, you don't have to wait until December 1st. Come in January 1 of the year you turn 65. You will qualify for that. Disability, if you got your papers, you can come in and do that. I believe the front office does send out letters to anybody turning 60. I'm not part of that process, but that has been an ongoing process since I've been employed there. So we try to notify, but a lot of it's word of mouth. You'd be surprised at people. I guess they don't talk about it much. But if you know somebody, the general public can educate their neighbors. Hey, you're ready to turn 65. You need to get down to PVA and save a little money.
Yeah, I didn't know about it until today, or when I was working on the question. So it is interesting. The only other question he got that you didn't get is just about industrial valuation. How do you think about valuing large industrial developments fairly without driving away investments of new things? And also, how does the PVA work with physical court or whoever? I don't know anything about it. So how is it a different process to value like industrial type buildings?
No, the process is the same. They are still bound by the 100% fair market value. Now, the only big difference is the dollar amount is significantly larger. So there's always a difference in opinion as what the taxable value is, and that's for several different reasons. But no, the process is the same. And as far as fiscal court, I mean, I'm not too sure where you're going with this question, but
yeah, I don't think that shouldn't have been added in there. I just was basically the heart of the question is just what's the difference? That sounds like it's a lot more complicated than evaluating homes.
But what you got to realize, and the state will give breaks, and there are inducements for corporations, large industries to locate in a certain area through tax break, bond issues, things of that nature. But they still pay taxes, and without the taxes being paid by those, everybody wants to talk about Blue Oval. Blue Oval was there, and in my opinion, the reason it wasn't there sooner or something else wasn't there is because the infrastructure was not there for a big industrial site. Without a tax base, without taxes, then there's no infrastructure. So a lot of times you got to talk with these industrial people and say, the community, you need the community as much as community needs you. And they still have to pay their fair share. Blue Oval is in the battle right now with the Board of Education as to what they're having to pay. Property taxes is very little because they're paying directly to the state via the bond issue. What they are assessing or appealing the assessment over is what is considered a payment in lieu of taxes, which goes directly to the school board. So the community invested a lot into Blue Oval locating in Glendale. So that has to be recouped somehow. So the taxes are essentially the same as far as property taxes on industrial.
Okay. All right. Well, that covers that. So I'm going to give you 90 seconds here in a minute to do an elevator pitch or why people should vote for you. But first, let me close out my end, and then I'll let you know when I'm ready for you to do that, and we'll end on that. Dennis, thanks for being a part of the Hardin Local Election Marathon. We'll drop your where to learn more answers in the comments. I already put the name of your Facebook page, so people can find out more about you. If you guys want to post on the comments and put your email, phone number, whatever, you can do that as well. After Dennis, we're going to have a brief station ID break, I guess. Actually, we don't have anybody scheduled for 6, so our next person will be at 6:30, and it'll be Mitchell McLaurin for Radcliffe City Council. So we're not going to end the stream. I'll just put up the countdown timer, and we're going to and I may actually stay on and show you guys. Yeah, don't jump off right after we're done, because I'm gonna show you guys a few different of our websites on the screen share after this is done. So one more thank you to our sponsors, the Plumbing Doctor at 765 Plum and Corey at Omni Design Group 270-769-8339. Dennis, give us your best elevator pitch. Why should people vote for you? You have 90 seconds.
Okay. I'm running for Property Valuation Administrator because this just isn't a political office to me. It's been my career for the last 28 years. As I said before, I spent half my life serving people of Hardin County right here in the local PVA office, and I know the office inside and out. My goal is to maintain the stability and to continue to serve with transparency and common sense. I want you to know this. I will listen to you. I will always treat you with fairness and respect. The PVA's job is simple but important. We ensure your property is valued accurately and fairly, and I'm committed to doing it the right way by being present, accessible, and accountable to you. And I'd appreciate your vote.
All right, Dennis, we thank you for joining us, and we hope that you have a great rest of your Derby week, and best of luck to you on May 19th.
All right, appreciate it. Thanks, Phil.
Have a nice day. Talk to you later.
Too.